Hello again, all Duel Master fans. Today, we get a step closer to completing our quest to open one of all the TCG booster boxes. So today, I have in front of me a DM09 box, which is Fatal Brood of Infinite Ruin. This is the 9th box that was released in the English trading card game. And it introduced not too many new things, but the big thing was it had a bunch of effects with creatures. They get an effect off if they're not blocked. And it also gave us our first creatures that have 0 attack that usually will have the attack go up depending on certain circumstances, like creatures in graveyard or for cards in hand, I know is another one. So, without further ado, we'll get into it. So now, I made a deal with a friend of mine to acquire this. So, there's a couple rules we're going to follow. The goal is, wow, this is really good seal. We want to get 8 foils as the goal. So, in a normal box, we should be pulling 8 foils. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 supers, 2, 5, or 6 very rares. Once we get 8 foils, that will be it. This will be another 2-part video. And we are going to, as always, do the first 12 packs in the first opening, and however many we get through before getting our 8th foil, that'll be how many we open for the second half. So we'll show it off here. This is how it'd look if you went to the store. So I think every video I've always done the right first, so we will continue with tradition and get started. So, you have the pack art, you have Stratosphere Giant, you have Petrova, you have Magma Dragon, you have I think, there it is, I think is it Trixo? I think it is. And I thought there's one more, maybe there is just 4. Well, you know what, we'll get started and we'll go from there. So, it's going to be 12 packs, 12 and 12, or 12 and however many it takes to get our 8th foil. So this is also the last set that had puzzle cards. Before in DM10 they did cards you could redeem for promos. So start off with puzzle card. We have a Storm Wrangler. Now Storm Wrangler is a beast folk. He is an Evo. You put him on beast folk whenever this creature attacks. You may choose one of your opponent's untapped creatures that has blocker. And this turn that creature blocks this creature if able, and this creature can't be blocked by any other creatures. So it's kind of good for isolating blockers. So that is our first rare. Grinning Hunger. We have Tekarax. We have a Whispering Totem. We have a Whip Scorpion, which is a decent power attacker, but it just costs a lot. Kalute Vizier of Eternity, which I believe lets you get other Kalutes. When this creature will be destroyed, if another Kalute Vizier of Eternity is in the battle zone, return this creature to your hand instead, so it lets you keep them on the field. Relentless Blitz, which hopefully we pull the other half of the combo. Trixo, Wicked Doll, Impossible Tunnel, and Cavern Raider to finish out the pack. So let's go here, because we'll do foils hopefully up there. Puzzle cards over here. This is, I feel like, the most time-consuming part, trying to find out where to put everything. All right, we'll go for that, except the glare. There we go. Glare's a little rough. I've been messing with the lighting a little bit. The acoustics are good. The lighting could use a little bit of work, so we're still working on that. Got puzzle card. Nexus Charger to start out, which lets you put a card from your hand into your shields. Unified Resistance. Snap-Tongue Lizard. Necro Dragon. Izor's Ball. Now he's another one of those I told you about that he has 0 attack. This creature gets plus 2,000 for each darkness creature in your graveyard, and when he has 6,000 or more, he's a double breaker. So a lot of those cards that had 0 attack, not amazing. Cosmic Wing, Steam Rumbler Kane, Zombie Carnival, fantastic card if you're playing only 1 or 2 races in the deck. Shield trigger that, you can bring 3 creatures of a designated race from grave to hand. Kelp Candle and Cavern Raider. So the card I was saying about the, all the cards that had 0 attack, I don't really think any of them are like great deck cards. It was an interesting concept, but you know, I haven't really seen competitively any of those cards have really done very well for competitive play. Next pack, We got our puzzle card. Simian Warrior Grash, a card I do enjoy using. Whenever one of your armor Lloyds is destroyed, your opponent chooses a card as mana zone and puts it into this graveyard. Very nice combo with Rothis the Traveler. You have Hokira, you have Vine Charger, another kind of, I feel like, is an underrated card. Your opponent chooses one of his creatures in the battle zone and puts it into his mana zone. So not too bad of a card either, but since they get to choose, you want to make sure their field's not super big. Cosmic Wing, Steam Rumbler, another Zombie Carnival, Kelp Candle, Solid Horn, and Jill Worka. Another decent card. So he can't attack players, but when he's destroyed, you can choose up to 2 of your opponent's creatures and tap them. So that is actually, I feel, a pretty decent effect. You could even pull it off with a deck revolving around Diadolos. You know, if you ever have to destroy your own creature, you just get to tap 2 of your opponent's creatures. So it's actually not bad for removing, for card removal. Slash Charger, very good card. This is one of the better rares of the set. You get to search a deck, take a card from that player's deck, and put it in the graveyard. So again, you get to see your opponent's deck. So that itself gives you a lot of information. Betrayal, Snap Tongue, Grinning Hunger, Zombie Carnival, Kelp Candle, Dance of the Sproutlings, Kalute, Steam Rumbler, and Acid Reflux. I always chuckle with Acid Reflux. Just picture inside your stomach when you're feeling acid reflux. If you see those things in your stomach, you're like, well, no wonder I'm having a lot of pain. It looks practically like death. So the card name and the artwork always make me chuckle. But we're looking for a foil. So how about we get ourselves a foil here? We got a puzzle card, Blizzard of Spears, another solid rare. He destroys all creatures 4,000 or less power, you and your opponents. This is a decent card for killing, actually one of the big cards of this set, Petrova, because it has 3,500 and it does not target. Petrova is a tricky card to remove. So Fist of Forever, the Relentless Blitz card I told about earlier. I'll talk later in the video about a combo with this and Relentless Blitz. Vine Charger, Psycho Link, Relentless Blitz. Well, we might as well talk about it now. So basically, Fist of Forever. When you win a battle, you get to untap that creature. Relentless Blitz, choose a race. This turn, each creature of that race can attack untapped creatures and can't be blocked while attacking a creature. So these 2 cards together, if you pull them off, can take out an entire field if you have someone who's super strong. Bat Doctor gets cards back. He's pretty decent as we are throwing him away. Tentacle Cluster, we have Solid Horn, and we have Kalute. So again, I feel like there's a lot of cards that, you know, I would say it's one of the mid-range sets. It's certainly not the best set in DM, but it's definitely not the worst. There's a lot of cards that, you know, for certain decks, they work really well. So we got a puzzle card. We have Mihail, which whenever a creature is destroyed, it stays in the battle zone instead. We have Betrayal. We have Gigio's Hammer. We have Necro Dragon. We have Bat Doctor. We have Quakesore, Impossible Tunnel, Solid Horn, Jill Worka, Relentless Blitz, finishing it out. Well, guys, we are 6 packs in. Where are the foils at? So I'm really hoping we hit a run here where we hit out a good 2-3 foils. Hopefully in this half we get a couple. I mean, this has been surprising we haven't hit it yet. We have puzzle card, Zeppelin Crawler, which basically a card we haven't pulled yet, Submarine Project, I think it is. Has a similar effect to that. He can't attack, and whenever this creature blocks, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Hey, we do have our first foil, and it's a decent one, Stratosphere Giant. So he's one of the, I'd say, slightly more usable Giant if you're keeping your opponent top decking. So whenever you put this creature in the battle zone, your opponent chooses up to 2 creatures in his hand, and he can play them into the battle zone, and he's a triple breaker. So the big thing is, if you play this guy, if your opponent has anything in their hand, they can play it. So I'd recommend, if you ever have a time to play him, make sure your opponent doesn't have a big hand. Vine Charger, Trarion, Gigio's Hammer, Whip Scorpion, Psycho Link, Quakesore, Bat Doctor, and Impossible Tunnel, finishing it out. So finally, at least we got our first foil. Hopefully there'll be a few more to follow to end the set. Yeah, so there was a lot of, some of the rares, I'd say there's a lot of pretty useful cards in this set. Known, I would say none like, probably the most breakthrough card is Slash Charger, which, speaking of, there it is. Pretty darn good card, as I said before. Fist of Forever, Venom Worm, which it's a tap ability that you choose a race, every one of that race gets Slayer. Hokira, you have Scout Cluster, Dance of the Sproutlings, Cosmic Wing, Quake Soar, Bat Doctor, and Tentacle Cluster. So I'd say on average, most cards in this set, this set introduced a lot of cards that it specified different races, whether it was giving certain abilities, mostly certain abilities. We'll just cut it there. Puzzle card. Shock Trooper Mikey. I'm a fan of this card. I used him in one of my decks. Speed Attacker, not really strong, but the Speed Attacker is really the key here. Whenever this creature's attacking your opponent isn't blocked, destroy one of your opponent's creatures, 3,000 or less power. So, again, if you're looking at taking creatures off their field, not bad, and the Speed Attacker can make it decent in useful situations. There is the Submarine Project I mentioned with Zeppelin Crawler. This one, just look at the top 4 cards of deck. Put one of them into hand, rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Silvermoon Trailblazer, you have Betrayal, Scout Cluster, Dance of the Sproutlings, Cosmic Wing, Relentless Blitz, Trixo, and Tentacle Cluster. 3 left. Hopefully we got at least, I'd like to say 2 foils, but it could be one of those ones that the second half has all the good stuff. So we shall see what it brings. Puzzle Cup, I already revealed some of it. Terra Dragon and Ristval. I'm trying to think if it's the card I hope it is. I hope it is, and it is, well, still pretty good. Glen of Waila the Hypnoc. Now I think about it, both the super rare and the very rare, both 5 mana for light, so wouldn't have helped me. So Glen of Waila the Hypnotic, he's actually not a bad Guardian, 8,500 power, so pretty strong for a 5 cost. So he goes on a Guardian, Double Breaker. Whenever your opponent uses a shield trigger ability of one of his shields, you can add the top deck of your deck to your shields face down. So you have to have a deck to kind of work with him, but not a bad card. He has a pretty solid effect, and his stats are pretty good too. Venom Worm, Submarine Project, Whispering Totem, Kaloot, Aerodactyl Kuza. I think that may be our first one actually. Scout Cluster and Whip Scorpion. So final 2. Hopefully we get another foil. But yeah, I'd say Glen of Waila, I'd say it's one of the more usable very rares of this set. It's pretty solid effect. We got puzzle card, Abduction Charger, which is just, I'd say, a little too costly for its effect. Basically, it gives you the 2 Spiral Gates in 1 card. Choose up to 2 creatures in Battle Zone and return them to the owner's hand. Now, the card version of this that's not a charger is going to be Teleportation from DM1. So if you think about the mana cost increase, it really doesn't make it too worth it. So Silvermoon Trailblazer, Unified Resistance, Snap Tongue Lizard, Quake Soar, you have Acid Reflux, Scout Cluster, Dance the Sproutling, Psycho Link, and Aerodactyl Kuza. Last pack, here we come. So, yeah, actually rare-wise, we've done pretty good. Slash Charger is one of the more desirable rares. Blizzard of Spears is also a pretty good rare, so not too bad so far. Another interesting one, Gob Zagul, Warlord of Pain. He makes each creature attack each turn if able. So he's another one, he could be interesting in certain types of decks. Because he costs 6, it could be hard by the time you get him out to use him well, but not a bad card. Hey, we have Balesk Baj, the Time Burner. Another one that's a really good effect, but its cost makes him hard to use. So we'll show him off here on camera. All right, so Balesk Baj, there we go. There's that focus. Whenever this creature's attacking your opponent isn't blocked, take an extra turn after this one. Everyone remember that effect. It works really well in DM10. Double Breaker, but at the end of your turn, return this creature to your hand. So I'd say the troubling thing with him, again, amazing effect, but you can't be blocked. It costs 9, and the troubling thing is that race. Armored Wyvern is a tricky race. There's just not a lot of high quality cards that have that race. Again, they're decent, but you kind of have to force it. Fist of Forever, Grinning Hunger, Tesseract, Jilwarka, Quakesoar, Acid Reflux, Tentacle Cluster, and Dance of the Sproutlings. So that wraps up part 1 of the box. We finished 3 foils so far, and I hope you guys tune in, can't speak today, tune in to part 2 and see what we get. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all check in for part 2.